All right. I am so excited to drop into the Astrology of January with you all. We're gathering on Friday, January 2nd. And so we've just experienced Mercury entering Capricorn. And this happened yesterday afternoon, I believe. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a Virgo rising. I know we have another Virgo rising on the call. I felt it click into place when Mercury entered Capricorn. Mercury in Sagittarius is usually kind of a fun-filled, curious transit. And this year we experienced a retrograde that started in Sagittarius and ended in Scorpio. So it brought the shadow of Mercury to both of these signs. And then, of course, that means both of those realms of our lives, whatever house is ruled by those signs. Um, and it made what is usually a very jubilant transit in my experience murkier, tougher to get to the bottom of the truth. Um, and then finally, Mercury cleared its shadow. But now but even once it cleared its shadow, there was still this like, because of the square to Neptune and Saturn at the tail end of Pisces, there was just this density that is unfamiliar to Sagittarian energy. And I have my moon right there, so I know that I felt this like very acutely, but I'm sure we can all relate to just the wanting to move into this next phase of beingness. And I feel like Mercury clarifying our communications in Capricorn is really like the first domino that clicks into place to take us there, to take us into this space where we have this clear vision that all of these planets are going to work together to provide as we move closer and closer to springtime. So, Mercury will be in Capricorn from January 1st to January 20th this year. This is about grounded, clear communications. This is about orienting to reason. Capricorn's highly realistic. Um, and it's also about elder wisdom. It's about tried and true wisdom. It's about the things that you only know by spending an extended period of time conscious on Earth. And then to that point, also after incarnating many, many times across many different galaxies, maybe even too. And in this time, our words take form. These things that we speak into existence actually come to fruition. This is a great time, and we'll talk more about the opportunities as we continue. But what's coming through right now is like this would be a great time to speak your intentions into reality. I remember when I was the year that I turned 30, my birthday's in January, the year that I was turning 30. I just started telling people right off the rip that I was writing a book and I wasn't writing one quite yet. And 4 months later, I had a book deal. Um, this is the time to use your words, both written and like actually, your actual word, using the power of your oracular nature to bring these things to fruition. This is a time where our words have weight. We have to mean what we say because they'll have impact no matter if we mean it or if we just say it off the cuff. And this is a time in this way of words as spells, recognizing the power of your word, recognizing the texture, the feel, the tonality, the power, the emphasis, the ability, the fertility to bring something to life. And in this way, the opportunity is to develop or continue a scripting or journaling practice. Really, anything you can do to activate your expression and your I'm going to use the word like manipulation of your tangible reality, but without the connotation of manipulation, like actually altering the fabric of your reality through your expression, through your word. It's a time to anchor your truth, steady your voice, say it and mean it. Say it even when your voice shakes, so that maybe next time your voice won't shake. Um, then tomorrow, again, this is January 2nd. We're gathering right before, it's really tonight, the full moon in Cancer. In Easter time, the moon will be full at exactly 5:03 a.m. And so we are kind of dreaming through this portal, unless you're an early bird, or on the other side of the world. In that case, hello. Um, in this time, I have a full blog post on the full moon in Cancer up on Inner Orbit. So if you haven't checked it out, you're more than welcome to. It goes through affirmations sign by sign to kind of give you a clue as to what realm this is activating in your world. Um, that being said, the frequency here is that there's magic in slowness, in presence, in tender nourishment. This is a time to be crafting protection magic, declaring what's sacred. It also draws us inward and illuminates the work-life balance. Cancer is the mother of the zodiac, and Capricorn is the father of the zodiac. And whenever we have a full moon, this means that the sun and the moon are exactly opposite each other in the sky and on the zodiac wheel. And so Cancer is exactly opposite from Capricorn. So whenever we're having the sun in Capricorn, we will have a full moon in Cancer. And so in this way, in everyone's life, Cancer and Capricorn evoke this frequency of the home and providing for the home, the inner life and the outer life, what you're known for, what you do out in the world. But again, in my latest blog post, it goes into kind of where that axis falls in your chart and what that means for you. This is an opportunity to till the inner soils and tend the inner waters. This is time to really go within. This is not the time to dream about, all these things that you want to accomplish and go out and do them all in the same breath. This is rather the time to dream this dream and then plan this plan. And then there will come time to really be in the execution. I think we take aligned action all along the way, but there's this like preparation time that Capricorn affords us. And I feel like this is really time to orient to the map, get clear on your milestones that you're calling in for yourself, and maybe going ahead and placing them on the calendar and seeing that as taking this embodied, aligned action, but feeling the way that you still get to go slow and be inward while you do it. This is about releasing the doing, melting into feeling, and remaining in reverence of your innate knowing. And then we start to have a pile up of planets in Aquarius. This is lovingly marked on my calendar. The blog post, the blog post idea of like when I need to write this. The sticky on my calendar says Aquapalooza because that's what it is. And Venus kind of starts to take us there. We have Pluto in Aquarius right now as it is. And soon we'll have Venus and then Mercury, and then Mars, and the Sun all gather and at Pluto's abode. He's made himself at home in Aquarius. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. And so, in this way, every time we have a planet come into Aquarius, they do not go untouched by Pluto. this agent of change, of transformation, of alchemy. And I think Pluto gets a pretty bad reputation, actually. Pluto has the reputation of kind of like like fucking shit up, honestly, of changing your path, of taking something from us. It's really illustrative of our fear of death, our fear of rebirth, our fear of change. But Pluto also has the epithet of the golden healer. And Pluto in mythology is the god of the underworld. Um, and in mythology, the underworld includes their version of heaven. Um, and so in this way, it's kind of like Timshel, which is a concept from East of Eden, but really the Hebrew Bible, which is Timshel, thou mayest. The quote is, I'm going to get it wrong if I try to say it exactly, but essentially, one of the main characters, Lee, he's studying the Bible. He feels like it's not like resonating exactly the way that it should. So he learns Hebrew so that he can read the original text, stumbles across this word, and he says, thou mayest throws it back on the man. And so in this way, when we're working with Pluto, it throws it back on us. Are you manifesting hell on earth? Are you manifesting heaven on earth? And it's not just like in our intentions, it's also in our predispositions, in our inheritances, in the way that we walk, in the way that we relate to other people, in the way that we form our expectations, in the way that we are sitting within our nervous system, within our body, and the structures of our society. But in this way, there is this very heavenly aspect to Pluto. And I feel that, and I'll write more about this. We'll touch back on this thread here in the coming days. But every planet, including the sun and, eventually the moon as well, coming into Aquarius is really going to have give us this opportunity to have this relationship that we desire with this transformative agent and recalibrate our relationship to transformation and rebirth right before we have Neptune re-enter Aries and Saturn re-enter Aries, and come conjunct one another just outside of Aquarius season. Um, so yeah, there's a lot going on in Aquarius this month, and it is the first time that I looked at these charts, I was like, I literally had to just like get up and like I did like a few laps around my living room because I was like, I didn't even think about I didn't even at first like even really process what I was seeing. I was just like shocked by the patterning. I mean, it's like it's like almost everything is in this very tight configuration. And it's exciting, it's enthralling, it's inspiring, and it's something we've never done together before as like a global team, like a global collective. I think it's going to get a little weird, to be honest. Like, I think it's going to get a little trippy. I think it's going to get a little glitchy. I think it's going to get a little edgy. And I think it's going to get a little fucking miraculous, to be completely honest. And so this Venusian activation really gives us this boundless perspective on love, transcending the earth experience. Um, when we relate to uh, Venus and to relationship and, create these stories around what it means to be truly loved in this human existence on earth, we put a lot of pressure on very particular types of relationships, very particular types of treatment, dynamics, socioeconomic statuses. It's all very tangled. And I think that Venus in Aquarius starts to calibrate us into this divine sense of love. And I think that that gets accentuated and heightened once Venus does enter Pisces in February. But this activation really revolutionizing the way that we relate. Venus conjunct Pluto, completely transforming the way that we interweave. And whether we see this play out right away on a stranger to stranger capacity is, you know, remains to be seen. But I think we'll definitely start to see, I think, a divide, to be honest. We've got a lot, Uranus coming into Gemini. This people who it increases this myth of division and then increases this truth of divine love. And we'll see, you know, the way the cookie crumbles once we get there. But really, truly alchemizing the way that we think of each other, the way that we have love for each other. Um, there's almost like this reminder of oneness with Aquarius and Pisces energy. And so coming through Pluto in this way, with Pluto in this way, really gives me so much hope. So the opportunity here is to unpack your relationship with love and partnership. Um, Put away like what society has told you about these things and then re-pick up the pieces that you actually want to carry with you. Enchant and entice the mind. This is a time where your curiosity is valuable, your inspiration is valuable. So find ways to open and engage your mind. And then the herbal allies don't always come through, but something that came through was gotu kola and hibiscus together in a tea. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. And then we'll be led into the new moon in Capricorn. Honestly, Capricorn moon is not the most comfortable placement, but it is one of my favorite lunations of the year. Um, the new moon in Capricorn really helps us to reveal some infrastructure that was like previously hidden, previously foggy or hazy. We can start to get a clear snapshot of how to uphold our dreams. We receive insight that makes sense. And this is another New Year threshold. So we get a few of these. I mean, you can have a rebirth any moment, anytime, any place. The Witch's New Year is on Samhain, October 31st. The Gregorian New Year, of course, is January 1st. The Lunar New Year. Is this the Lunar New Year? The first new moon of the year? Or is it in February? I'm going to look it up really quick, to be honest. And then, kind of like the Earthen New Year really resonates with the spring equinox, Aries. It's an astrological New Year. The first day of Aries season lines up with Astara, the spring equinox. And this is another New Year threshold. But I really feel this new moon in Capricorn energy as a kind of New Year frequency. So if you feel like you missed some kind of wave when we entered January 1st, fear not. Yeah, Lunar New Year is February 17th, which is also a solar eclipse. So the fire horse is fire horsing. Um, this is an opportunity to really set your goals and define your dreams. Become the architect of your reality. This is a time where dream seeds really take root. And this, I also just in this time and maybe on this day of the new moon in Capricorn, find yourself a case study of someone who's doing something that you want to be doing well, someone who is already a success story. And feel that, like, really feel that. Look at a photo of them, see yourself in them, and feel the way it would feel to already have that be your reality and see the way that they've accomplished it. And so it's accomplishable. And so you can do it. It feels like innate new moon and Capricorn magic to me. And then is that the next day? Yeah, the next day, the sun enters Aquarius. Um, this means I didn't say this, but this must mean that this moon takes place at the 29th degree. And in this way, it's this culmination of what the season has brought to us. What insights have landed, what dreams have begun to sprout. The 29th degree of a sign is this culmination point of everything that you've learned through that particular evolution. And having a new moon there feels like this like really beautiful like intake of breath as we step into this next chapter of Aquarius season. And this is really where things start to pick up in this way of all these planets converging in Aquarius. So this year, Aquarius season is from January 19th through February 18th. This is a season of illumination, insight, and revolution. It's a powerful time for meditation, visualization, and acting for the good of all. Aquarius is the revolutionary humanitarian. This is a sign that I think traditionally gets cast in this role of like aloof, social, outcast, weird girl energy. But in this like fully embodied croned energy of Aquarius, there is this frequency of it's kind of like that quote, like be the change you wish to see in the world, of really holding the highest good that extends beyond the self in frame at all times. And I think sometimes that makes Aquarius energy feel cynical, because it's easy to like burrow into that. But I think with Pluto here, we're really being like activated and like woken up in this big way. And so I feel like I would take some time, either in a session or on your own time to really look and feel into what's going on in Aquarius in your chart, where it sits before this season comes to fruition, to really see like what is this bringing forward for you, because we all hold different pieces to the puzzle. This season is not about being like an Aquarius sun or an Aquarius rising, or really even having like placements there. Like we all hold the frequency of every single sign of the zodiac within us, and it just defines this different realm of life. Um, so you, wherever Aquarius touches in your chart, you have this particular perspective of revolutionary wisdom in that realm of life. And I really feel like this time of not just like this Aquarius season, but really this entire Pluto in Aquarius era, especially while Uranus is in Gemini as well, as an important time for us to come together and share what we're getting, like what's coming through, because Aquarius also teaches us that even though sometimes we have the propensity to be separate, we really must come together and share our wisdom for everything to click into place. We each have almost like such a beautiful, important perspective, but it's like a little tunnel visioned. And when we add them all together, we that's where we reach like omniscience. That's where we get like the full perspective. And so gathering during this time, sharing what's coming up for you with your friends and your circles and your networks in this time, really amplifying your truth and your voice. And in this way, um, take care not to get lost in the labyrinth of the mind. We can get tied up there. We can get lost there. We can overthink our way into oblivion. We can numb out our thoughts. We can keep ourselves distracted. And this is a time where we need your mind. We need you like online, like in the spiritual sense. We need you like connected. This is the time to be sharing your thoughts with the world. And considering like what is your dream for life on Earth? Shortly behind the sun, Mars enters Aquarius, and we start to see the way that these planets are like piling up, right? Like it's growing and growing. So, first we have Venus, ruler of love, beauty, romance. Then we have the sun, ruler of our self expression, our identity. And now we have Mars, the planet of action, desire, will. And already Pluto was there. So we're the babies being born during this time are going to be truly phenomenal individuals. I can't wait to my nephew will be born during this era, so I'm so excited to see how this imprint plays out over the course of life. It's going to be quite the journey. Mars enters Aquarius January 20th and then leaves, enters Pisces on February 6th. This is a frequency of action yielding quickened results. Aquarius is lightning fast, as is Gemini. Libra, being Venus ruled, is a little more like gushy, feel good, slow, but can be quick when that's what feels good. Aquarius and Gemini are like lightning rod energy. And so, in this way, when we take aligned action once Mars is in Aquarius, there's this immediate response almost from the universe. It's something Virginia Rosenberg said this like off the cuff in a random interview once with a client, that the great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, that would have been 2020, brought us into a time where our manifestations are coming through consciousness itself. And so it's a quickened pace. And this pile up in Aquarius is reinforcing and quickening what's already begun since 2020. In this way, intention is carried on the breath. Innovative, futuristic solutions ripple into consciousness. So I think this is about staying open, staying attuned, following your inspiration, engaging in breathwork practices. If anybody needs a recommendation, I have two. My mentor, Marianne Mitchell, is an amazing breathwork facilitator. And actually, tomorrow, if you're on the call now, January 4th, Virginia is collaborating with another breathwork practitioner, Erin Telford. And I can vouch for both Erin and Marianne. Powerful, powerful breathwork facilitators. It's going to be a good time for that. Script, meditate, visualize, take aligned action for the good of all. And right after Mars enters Aquarius, we gather. This is January gathering for my paid subscribers over on Inner Orbit. Crystalline Coven is essentially the community aspect of my new project. And this is where we gather once a month for free. And then our paid subscribers get access to another masterclass, workshop, or talk of some kind each month. And this year, or this month is the art of manifestation. So we are gathering on Thursday, January 22nd at our usual time, and we're going to be going over manifestation magic. We'll talk about tools and anchor points for the journey, how to get your mind right, set the space, what allies you can lean into, what practices you can lean into to kind of hold your ground and hold your portal well. We'll talk about scripting, a little how to, my best practices, if you will. I'll teach you a few different ways to create sigils, but we'll go into detail on my favorite method. And then we'll talk a little bit about candle magic. And this is something we'll probably circle back to, continuing to go deeper in. But yeah, so to become a paid subscriber of Inner Orbit, it's $8 a month, and you get the additional masterclass as well as sometimes longer writings. There's a monthly workbook or guidebook of some kind, a PDF. That you can work with that's kind of in either seasonal, magical, or astrological flow with the month. And I am so excited about this call. And our paid call in February will be an eclipse circle. We're actually going to gather on the solar eclipse. Um, so I can't wait. And then this is the last biggie of the month. So we have Neptune re-entering Aries. Now, we gathered last year, some of us, to soak in the wisdom of Neptune and Aries in a masterclass I taught when Neptune entered Aries back in March of last year. And I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but we've had Neptune back in Pisces for a little while now, and we can feel it, right? We had like a moment of clarity, I feel like, over the summer. This like we could feel some of this like Neptune and Pisces fog being burned off by the flame. And then we kind of like plunged back into the depths of Pisces, back into that. I believe it's still sitting at the 29th degree of Pisces this entire time, or maybe it retrograded back to 27 and 28. I can't totally remember. It's all rather foggy. Thank you, Neptune. But in Aries, we have this opportunity to really come into this new paradigm. I mean, this is the rebirth point of the zodiac. And in February, we'll have this massive conjunction of Saturn and Neptune at the 0 point of Aries. And so we're starting to get warmed up here. January 26th, we have this forward motion that really becomes generative. Long lasting fog dissipates, our power is restored, and a new dream is born. Something that probably comes through this architecturing we've been doing. A dream evolves, a new opportunity. It's like dream and dream bigger. We have this vision, and then that vision gives way to this thing that maybe we didn't even think was possible for ourselves. Maybe it's this thing that we've been too nervous to admit out loud that we're dreaming. Um, and tension starts to build. This anticipation starts to build with Saturn close behind. Saturn working its way through these final degrees of Pisces. I believe Saturn enters Aries on February 13th. So not too long after. And then we have this major peak of their conjunction on February 20th. And we'll talk more about this. I have actually done a talk on this. We will circle back to it, I'm sure. Um, but that's up on Inner Orbit now. It's called The Most Powerful Manifestation Portal of 2026. Um, and I think the opportunity here is to take inspired action, even if it's a small step at first. The magic of Aries is to not be afraid to go first, to take that initiative, to claim this dream in some way, even if it's small. Follow your inspiration. Make offerings to the fire. This is one of the reasons that we're closing the manifestation talk with candle magic, because I think that fire is going to be such an important gateway into um, what's next for us. This very powerful ally in co-creating our future. And in this way, candles make fire so much more accessible for everyone. Anybody can light a candle. Um, and to stoke your creative flame, get your creative juices flowing, like release all the blocks and buts and reasons why we can't do the creative thing. And when you have the creative impulse, take it. When you have the creative impulse, do the creative thing. Um, and so I have a few offerings kind of support you through this time. My year ahead readings are actually on sale until tomorrow, January 3rd. Um, I kind of always do a session type of year ahead readings, but this is with a very pretty, beautiful PDF that kind of goes in depth of what the transit is for the collective, and then a paragraph on what it means for you in your chart as kind of like a guidebook that you can refer to all year long. And so that custom PDF is $44. If you want to add a 60-minute session to that, I'm only taking it to 99. Kind of an insane deal. And that sale closes tomorrow. And everyone who's a paid subscriber of Inner Orbit has access to the generic PDF, which gives the, kind of deep dive into what the transit is for the collective. And that is included in your $8 a month subscription. And then I also have a Neptune and Aries masterclass, as I was saying earlier, that I taught last year. That would still be quite an incredible resource. I do talk about the retrograde into Pisces. So this particular masterclass is probably best dropped into before the 26th, while we're still in this Neptune in Pisces era. Um, but I'll probably re-edit it once that time comes. This is a deep dive. I can't remember exactly how long it is, but I think it was like 75 minutes to 90 minutes long. Um, we go through the history of what Neptune and Aries has brought us before. I share, my intuitive insights around what I think this transit is going to bring us. We'll discover what makes this cycle unique, what other factors of the astrology of this time, the framework of this time, makes this cycle different from what we've lived